Good afternoon. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, your host. Things don't always go the way you want them to go, but when they go wrong, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay on the wrong side, or are you going to try to straighten yourself out? And as you do that, what do you do for society? We have two people today who are working with youth to prevent youth violence. We have a young man who's coming back from prison to show our young people that there are things that they can do, an attitude that they can have that will keep them from sharing the experience that he's had. We'll be right back and introduce you to UNITEEE.
My parents weren't fluent in English, so in school I had to be independent and take initiative, and that's how I handle every project I get.
Hi, I'm Wallace Allen. This is Empire Talks Back. Today, you'll get a chance to speak to two people who are involved in preventing youth violence. Today, we have with us Marcus Wood, and Gloria Amaya.
Yes.
How are you guys doing?
We're great.
Great. Why are we here? What are we talking about? What's going on? Marcus, you have an experience that you are using to help young people decide that they should act in a certain kind of way that's a little more civil and getting along in society.
It's just acting respectful.
Acting respectful.
If you allow yourself to understand respect, then you give it. It's not earned, it's given. When you step in a room, you don't ask for respect. You have to give it in order to, to receive it back. So, I spent my time a lot of time in prison understanding that myself. I was a kid when I went. And it's easy for you to get into some trouble because you don't understand what respect is, so it's the same out here on the streets. It should be no different.
After being in prison 17 years, coming out has to be fairly traumatic as you look at the changes that society has gone through, technical changes, just social media could flip you backwards. Tell us how you felt upon your release beyond your in terms of
as far as technology, I've always liked technology, so I kind of taught myself, on a cell phone in there, how to use a computer myself. So, coming home and having to deal with the struggles of getting a job and dealing with the no's, understanding that you're coming home from doing a prison sentence and you have to go get a job or make yourself comfortable with society again. I think for me, it was the hardest part because me being gone so long, I was impatient. I wanted to start my life when I came home.
Okay.
So being that didn't happen, I think it took a mental toll on me a little bit.
Being told no certainly takes a toll on all of us, and even though I have an experience as a salesman, and they told us that you can never get 100 people in a row to tell you no as some sort of encouragement to keep going. You told me that you had 100 people tell you no in a row in terms of the job.
Yeah, in a row. Like when I came home, having to kind of rush to get a job for the sake of being on parole or whatnot. I went to 100 different interviews, and they told me no, like fresh when I came home. It was after that when I figured all the stuff that I was doing with UNITEEE that I, kind of
tell us about
together.
UNITEEE. How did you get involved with UNITEEE?
So I started UNITEEE.
You started.
I started
What
UNITEEE.
made you start UNITEEE?
I was in my cell, honestly, thinking about all the things that happened to me. And
so this was something you thought about while you were actually incarcerated?
Yeah, I used to sit on the yard and talk to the people in prison with me and kind of say, hey, when I go home, I'm going to go show them how to, be respectful and go to school and do all the stuff I didn't do, so they won't be here. Because this is, being in there, you understand politics real quick, so having to be the politic, it's kind of hard to not want to come out here and bring some change to people who coming behind me.
So at what point in your disappointment at getting job interviews, and I'm sure at some point you got successful in getting a couple jobs, how did you actually move forward and start Unity, and when did you do that?
I just got up off my butt and went to the registrar and
That's simple
filed
as
the
that.
paperwork. Kind of said I wasn't going to take it no more, and for myself, and basically got up and did it.
So you started a nonprofit,
Yes, sir.
and so going through that process was probably not.
I kind of taught myself that too.
Well, you taught that.
I was actually ready for a lot of stuff that I did when I came home.
Very good.
It kind of helped me a little, because had I not been, I probably would have went back or kind of lost my mind, because it wasn't happening the way I wanted it to.
Well, tell us about Unity, the mission, and how you're going.
So the mission of Unity is to remove options of incarceration and violence from youth lives. Like I said, I went to prison myself, and to be able to help anybody's kid understand, maybe even the trauma that they go through could be a cause for them to be involved in any kind of violence, or how that can make them go to jail. It's my job to bring that awareness to them. So the E's in Unity stand for educate, enhance, and excel. If you educate the kid, then they're able to understand and kind of enhance their situation themselves, so they can be the best. They want to be and excel to heights that most don't.
Very good. Miss Gloria,
Yes.
how did you get involved with Unity?
Well, I used to work with kids who came out of YA and
Youth Authority.
Youth Authority, and I worked in a high level of care at a group home. And when talking to Mr. Marcus, I seen that his passion and his drive and all the barriers that he had to go through, and we want to eliminate those barriers for children, for youth. So seeing his passion and me working with youth and understanding the reality of their trauma, I wanted to just give them options.
And you were in a group home.
I worked in group homes.
You worked in a group home.
And I
It was a
worked
group home for
boys.
boys
It was-
who were, it wasn't like an orphanage where they were there because of.
No, they were committing crimes. They were getting arrested. They were foster care youth. They were on probation. And these were constant violations that were making them go. They couldn't go back home. Home wasn't safe for them. So
Home wasn't safe for them, or otherwise?
Probably
when you
both.
say home wasn't safe for them, you're expressing some of the things that parental care or lack of parental care, reason that a child is there. How much of some of the reasons that the kids were there?
Some of the reasons were parents were on drugs. There was violence in the home, violence that was influencing their behaviors, truancy.
Response to that violence, things that
Yes.
reaching out.
Labeled with all these labels of, opposite. What is it? Different disorders, ADHD, just
So-
uncontrollable behavior.
When you see them with these antisocial activities, is it because they don't want society to deal with them? Are these kids really trying to get away, be something other than good citizens, or are they asking for help and support? How does it
I think being one of
at
those
the group home level?
at-risk youth myself,
Okay.
not understanding the reality of what my parents were going through did influence my choices as a teen. I hung with gang members. I was ditching school, and in my junior year, I had 60 credits. That's 1 year of a freshman year.
Your
And
senior year, you had
my
attained,
junior
your
year.
junior year, you had attained only 60
only
credits.
60 credits.
You're
And
kind of going to school to get out of the rain, huh?
yes,
But in California, it didn't rain this much.
No.
So you did
or I had two parents who always worked, and I was like, I would take
trying
advantage.
hard. Your parents were trying hard.
Oh, they were trying, but what they were going through did affect my decisions.
Okay.
And I had a great mentor who said, you know what, you're better than this. We're going to keep putting positivity in your life, putting you in positive influenced environments. And that's what led me to help other children. At the age of 17, I was already working with youth. And 18, I was already working in a domestic violence shelter.
Excellent.
So
Thank you for your service.
thanks.
Very, very
So
interesting.
my heart is really to help those in need and to educate youth that they do have a choice.
Marcus, while you were in prison, and she's speaking that she had a good mentor, what motivated you to want to do what you're doing now?
My grandmother.
Now
I
you-
talk to my grandmother every time I talk to her. She told me how I should come home and make a difference. That was the one thing that I remember from her saying at every phone call before she hung up.
Okay.
She told me to figure out how to make a difference, and like I say, I deal with respect because she taught me that, and
So what was it that took place with you and your grandmother before you went to prison that made you have that kind of respect and admiration?
that was my mom, me and my mother, we were like more like sisters, sister and brother,
Okay.
so my grandmother, she taught me how to tell time at 2.
So Grandmama Love took care of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was what kept me home, but what made me run away was the fact that I wanted to kind of isolate and be in the streets away from my family. It was like I was in prison at home most times. I was always on punishment for something because my mom didn't want me to run the streets, or she tried to keep me in the house. So I think that's mainly what drives me and moves me, because I know today that kids are actually lucky, and they don't understand, how good they have it today. So
That's part of your message.
instead of me allowing them to go to jail or allowing somebody else to just put them there, I figured me talking to them and being that presence and helping them get to a point where they don't have to get there is key for me and them, to move forward.
Where do you engage these children?
LA, San Bernardino, and Riverside. So we deal with a lot of kids from different areas, and I took 23 kids to the beach in Santa Monica from San Bernardino that never ever in their life went to the beach ever. And then a couple of days later, we took them to the mountains in Forest Falls. And
So
a lot
from
of
one extreme to the other,
yeah,
just to show them the
none of
difference.
them had never been to either place. So it was something that they actually wanted to do. They planned it out. They didn't plan the day or whatnot, but they actually planned out what they wanted to do, and I made it happen for them. And well, not just me, but Gloria.
So give me some response of the young people as they saw the beach for the first time, put their foot in the ocean for the first
well,
time.
you know how it is when you get to that water, you just want to go run and jump in it. The whole time they was there, they was in the water. None of them played. We had footballs. We had
They didn't play with
everything.
anything,
No,
just-
they didn't want none of that. They wanted to go out there and throw each other around in the water. And I mean, the same thing kids do, man.
What
It was pretty
ages
fun.
are you working with? Or let's say at the beach. The beach
At the
trip.
beach, it was mostly high school kids. It was
Okay.
a few junior high kids because they was the siblings of the high school kids. But junior high school, but it's good to even talk to kids in elementary school to help them be aware and understand before they get to that point.
Are you working with them in co-eds? Is this girls and boys?
Yeah,
or is it
girls and boys, and they actually send the kids that they feel like are on a high risk to get to that point. They send them to us.
So you have kids out recruiting.
Yeah, and the teachers. I done got pretty cool with the teachers in this county, I should say, and they've been the ones that kind of helped me move forward in this, in this realm up here, and it's pretty cool actually, because like that, I got a chance to walk across the stage with the graduates last year at their graduation, because I missed my graduation. I was locked up.
Okay.
So I didn't know nothing
So
about
what
it.
was this
They
high school?
surprised-
Which high school was that?
That was Sierra.
Sierra High School?
Yeah, so they surprised me with a graduation, a diploma, and walking across the stage. That everybody knew but me, including this one.
Ah, you kept a secret there.
Yeah.
Yes, he didn't know what was plotting, and seeing here's a man who persevered through his own trauma,
Yes.
and now wanting to help others. And the kids were just so touched that here's this big old rough looking dude, and he's just this big old teddy bear giving them high fives at school and rushing them off to class. And so we worked in conjunction with the principal and staff, and they're like, what size of cap is he? What size of gown? I'm like, I don't know, like a 5X. So we had it all undercover, and he thought he was just going to escort the kids.
Ah,
And little did he know that I had called Assemblywoman Eloise Reyes,
yes.
and she came and surprised him with an honorary certificate of completion as well.
Excellent,
So-
excellent, excellent.
It was nice.
Did he cry?
No.
No? Okay.
I
Did you
heard
feel like crying?
I cried when I left. Don't tell nobody. when I left, it humbled me a bit,
hit you.
man, and I realized, what they had did for me. It was pretty cool. It was humbling.
How many kids are we talking about?
Well, at this time, like I say, I didn't know it was the whole entire school at this time when I went to that graduation.
But I mean, in terms of your service.
Well, in terms of service, if I counted like all the counties out there, I dealt with way over 100 kids.
Okay.
You know, and
Okay.
I've you know, we've done everything from basketball games to groups to just hanging out. You know, and it like I say, it kind of heals me. You know, because I kind of missed out on that part of life, so I kind of
Marcus,
helped them.
I'm going to interrupt you. We're going to take a short break.
Take it.
And when we come back, we'll talk more about some of the actual activities that you're involved in and what people can do to support this and what some of the results have been as a result of your actions.
Okay.
We'll be right back after this short break. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We are talking to an exciting couple of people here. We have Miss Gloria Amaya.
Yes.
We have Mr. Marcus Wood. The organization is called UNITEEE, and they've been working with young folk with the goal of reducing gang violence, youth violence in particular.
All violence.
All violence. To what extent are we working with gangs?
Well, I was a gang member myself, you know, so being one that
They say you
Kinda
can't
could-
get out of a gang. Did you get out of your gang?
you
Are
can
you still
get out. It's your
OGing?
choice.
Are you still influencing there?
I can't believe you said
He's
that.
triple
Yeah, right.
OG. I call you the OG.
Oh,
you know,
original guy,
Original guy.
gangster.
We gonna call you
You're
original guy.
Original
Okay.
grandpa.
yeah, original grandpa.
Original grandpa.
Yeah,
Cool.
we gonna,
Okay.
that's new. We actually
You
gonna do that.
gotta do it.
No, I mean, I want to be able to stay
As I said,
connected.
the first time somebody OG'd me, you know, because my son told me, he said, "Dad, I must be getting," because I was in the store and the young boys came through and said, "Hey, OG." It's a term of respect, really.
Yeah, it is a term of respect.
Yes,
And
and
if you have a youngster calling you OG, just out of nowhere, they
Yes.
respect you.
Yes.
You know, they respect you from the first second they saw you. So,
That's important to say because I've had men who say, "Call me no OG," as
Yeah,
if, you know,
me
that's
too.
kind of identifying them in something wrong. What
Right.
we're looking at is someone who may be a little bit on the wrong side, demonstrating respect for your presence.
exactly.
And I'm glad that you verified that at this point. But as an OG, you are an OG. Maybe you don't want to claim it because of age thing or whatever. I don't know. But there are young ones who will call you OG.
They call me Pops.
They call you Pop.
I
I don't
swear.
even know if that's better.
that's
Is that
worse.
that's worse.
So they call me either Mr. Marcus or Pops. You got
Or
the
Lil
mostly the
Bill.
girls.
What are the ones
Oh yeah,
who-
they call me Lil Bill. You know who that is?
Little Bill, no.
Little Bill is a cartoon that it's a little kid cartoon, but
Okay.
they said I look like this guy.
All right.
You know, so they call me those three things, and you know,
And those are
anytime-
all terms of affection.
Yeah.
German,
Yeah.
yes.
yeah. I'm like the big homie, big brother, protector of, you know, all the kids that I hang around or whatnot. But yeah, they call me Pops. That's, you know, that makes me feel
the
old.
generation you came with,
Yeah.
the generation behind you, and then the generation you're working with.
Okay.
Are you able to transist in your work from your generation all the way back, or do you find that there is a generation in between you and the youngest one that
Between me and it is a generation between me and like those that are 25 or so right now. I mean, like I don't have a problem from many kids. You know, like the respect starts from beginning.
what about meeting young men?
Yeah, I don't have no problems with
Okay.
the men. You know, if it's a kid who actually grew up in an area somewhat like I did, it's like immediate. You know,
What do we do as they're talking to you about employment, about their future, about
lead them to the
jobs,
right
making their
resource.
life?
I know a lot of people, that can help. So my job in Unity is to connect them to the resources. If everybody understands that together we the difference, then we can give, every kid anything they want, whether they've been to jail, whether they're in violence, in a gang, whatever. It's easy for you to be able to bring that change because you tried it. If we all just sitting here talking about what is a solution and everybody's sitting continuously talking, we're not gonna make it to that point. So if we all, understand that, respect starts there, and we can do, portray that to a kid and not walk around and say, all kids are disrespectful. That irks me, by the way. But
Yeah, well, I'm not sure, but generally when the people that I talk to who say things like that aren't really deserving respect, except maybe their age or their position,
Exactly.
not because of things they do to help other folk.
Right.
And there's folks like that out there, and I tell you all the time, stop being such a sour ball. You need to cool out and make yourself attractive to helping people. It's a great thing to do. Can you remember the first young man or young woman that you worked with, felt some success with as a result of Unity? Or
I can think of
any
a
other?
couple.
Oh, good.
I can think of a few, actually. Mercedes, she comes to mind. I mean, she like a little sister / daughter to me, and she, when I first met her, she was kind of worrisome, to be honest. She wanted to fight all the time. She was real rowdy or whatnot, but
Seeking attention.
yeah.
I mean, that's what we say that action is.
Right, and she kind of expressed to me the trauma that she been through. So I think that from that point on, we was connected in a way that others weren't, because I kind of protected her as if she was my own. So through Unity, I was able to help her through her IEPs.
Her IEP,
Which is her,
individual educational plan.
okay.
Yeah,
She had some learning
yeah,
disabilities, so we were able to advocate with parents' permission. She also finished her 40-hour domestic violence advocacy training to actually understand what she had been through in process and what she's witnessed over her childhood. So at 18.
So you have a program curriculum. What does that consist of?
The key components are, like he said, is always number one, respect of self and others.
accountability,
What else?
goals, basically understanding self, giving you opportunity to learn how to continue to educate yourself. Not to allow yourself to be educated. You have to read books. You got to teach yourself most times, because when you go to college, the reality of it is, sometimes you won't feel like you learned nothing there. So you will have to tell yourself and learn from those books and understand it in a way that the teacher won't give you, so you can have a clear understanding with life even. Because like I was telling some kids, I was in a group today, you need algebra for everything. No matter what it is, if it's computers, if it's electrical, if it's even just, me measuring how far that chair is over there, I have to use algebra. So, you have to go to school and teach yourself.
Does that make people be anxious to be around your program when you tell them they got
what makes them be anxious is the fact that, like I said, the respect factor first.
Okay.
And I'm like a big old kid when I get around them, and they tell me all the time, like, when you get around them, you're just totally different. I'm in that realm, I'm able to help and, put a smile on their face, even my own in that moment, because I'm not dealing with whatever struggles I may have been dealing with in my own mind in that moment.
Okay, so you go and make presentations. What type of atmosphere do you have that's kind of static, standard, that the young people go through?
We make them feel comfortable at first. We did a
I mean,
presentation.
is this at a center, or you?
It depends. It varies. It could be in a classroom setting. It could be. We were at the Morongo TANF yesterday with a few kids, and we're doing icebreakers, and it's very
between them.
them, and they lead the conversation. We're educating as far as the forms of abuse and the things that they go through in healthy and unhealthy relationships, not meaning partnerships, but friendships. This is a relationship, and seeing what's suitable for them. and letting them know they have that choice to pick who's healthy for their life opposed to who's unhealthy, who's gonna belittle you, put you down, and things of that nature. So
And even understanding that you don't have to deal with that. You know, you don't have to have that in your circle. You don't have to have mess. You don't have to have nobody that gossips to you about the next person and you accept it. You don't have to do none of those things. That's a choice that you make. So if I allow somebody to come to me and tell me something about somebody else that I might hang around with, I'm even more wrong than the person that said it because I allowed it to happen.
So how do we keep things away from us that we don't want to have around? What type of, and I know you're saying with respect, but how do you deal
You
with
got to hold
someone who's
yourself
coming
accountable
to,
for these things.
well,
you know?
we've got one good friend, and
Right.
you know, if you got one good friend, you got another good friend, chances are maybe one of those good friends is jealous of the other friend.
Right.
So how do you deal with, hey, Marcus, you know, Gloria is so-and-so and so-and-so and so and such and such.
Well, like I say, you got to let that be known. You know, I would tell you, hey, man, if you got something to say to Gloria, you might want to tell her yourself. I mean, that's that.
Standing
You know, it's
truth and
simple.
trans-
You don't
truth and
sugarcoat.
transparency.
Yeah, truth and transparency. You don't sugarcoat. If you sugarcoat, then that means that anything else that you tell me, if I believed you lied to me in that one instance, I'd never believe you again.
My mother says, I was starting to say said, but my mother says, if I catch you in one lie, I can only wonder how many I missed you in.
Exactly.
And you're expressing the same
Yeah,
thing. there.
if you lie to me once, then you lie to me, you know, twice. You know, so even the smallest lies, you know, if you start off with a small lie, they end up big because you got to cover up the first one. You know, so what's the point in not holding yourself accountable for what you did? You rather tell me a lie than hold yourself accountable and get up, you know, whatever consequences are in store for you, get them out the way, deal with them, and, you know, move on with your life.
In case you're just tuning in, we are not discussing politics and presidential habits. We're discussing how we would like for our children to learn the importance of telling the truth. So I just wanted to make that disclaimer. Okay.
Yeah, don't start me there.
And then we teach them too, it's more hurtful to be caught in a lie.
Right.
If you tell the truth, it's not as hurtful because you're honest. The person's
How
still
can I
going
be
to be
mad
hurt.
at you for telling the truth? If I ask you something and I know that it's gonna hurt me, at the end of the day, how can I be mad that you told me exactly what happened?
And I can think of how I could be mad if you didn't.
Exactly.
Because if we sit here talking all of this time, and I go look in the mirror and I find out that I got a hangy,
Right.
and I said, well, why didn't Marcus tell me that? What's up with him? What's the
Well,
deal?
my excuse would be, we was on
Yeah.
the camera. I don't want to tell you that you got a hanging out. You know.
You got a little.
But that's how important truth is,
Yes, sir.
is to us.
Yes, sir.
What are your plans? What's going on that the community can be of assistance in?
Well, right now we in the midst of trying to put together a community center in San Bernardino, and we need whatever union reps, whoever can
Now, when
come
you
out.
say put together a center, is it
It's
because
there already.
Oh,
It's there.
you see the building.
Holy Land Church allowed us to occupy part of one of their buildings there.
that's on H Street in
It's
San
on
Bernardino?
10th and G. It's
10th and G.
1024 North G Street.
Yes.
And, you know, it's pretty old. It's been there since 1949.
Do we have any basketball nets on that basketball court?
No,
No,
we
it
need
needs
some.
to be redone. That basketball court needs to be refixed, repaved. If we can find somebody who's able to do that.
We
as
used to
well.
play basketball on the rocks. All we needed was some nets.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I mean,
you ain't gotta tell me.
With
That
some
was-
nets, with some
yeah.
nets help at this point.
Look,
Yes.
we can use nets.
Balls.
We can use balls. We
Right.
can use, you know, tether balls. You know, you remember the tether
So
ball
you-
the girls used to hit in a circle?
No, but I remember the
With
one
the
the
yellow
boys
ball.
used to Yes. Yeah, no, you're right. I remember the embarrassment of losing to a girl. It was the old
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
In the old days, boys weren't supposed to lose to the girls. And now, sometimes when the girls win, you might need to wonder, did the boy just try to be politically
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
Nah.
Now you'll never know.
Now you'll never know.
You'll never know.
We're staying community focused.
Right.
Unity is nothing without the community.
Right.
Yes.
And that's how we have to stay in mind that it's not just one city. It's a whole community that needs to come together to help each other heal.
That's true. But the basketball court at Holy Land Church on 10th and G,
1024 North G Street.
that may be a project that we can all get involved in. Maybe if we were having a big cleanup day or something like that, you be sure to let me know.
We've had 4 cleanup days so far, and we're doing them every first and fourth Saturday, but we cleaned up pretty fast, so
Yes.
it kind of slowed down. So now we need mostly unions to come help us make it so people can where it's safe. You know,
Very
so
good.
if it's
Have you been to any Chamber of Commerce meetings?
I have not at this moment.
I'm going to suggest on TV that you get in touch with the Black Chamber of the Inland Empire, Black Chamber of Commerce of the Inland Empire, our friend Tammy Martin Riles.
Yes.
And I'd like for you to get in touch with the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Rich Wallace.
Okay.
And let's see what we might be able to do to create another level of unity and,
Yes,
and
sir.
involve our chamber people, our businesses, with the opportunity to do something that I know that we'd be helpful and glad to do. When
Yes,
I say
sir.
glad,
Thank
you know, we're glad.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So I want to thank you guys for coming in. More importantly, I want to thank you for your commitment for helping my kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because one thing people seem to forget is that there are kids because they're good, and there are kids because they can be less than good. But the effects of all of that falls back on all of us.
Yes.
sir.
So once again, Miss Gloria, I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Marcus, carry on, my brother.
Yes,
Okay?
sir. I will do.
Very good. This is Empire Talks Back. You guys can get involved. You can reach out and say something nice to a young person that you've never seen before. Or more importantly, say something nice to a young person that you have seen before. But step up, do something that'll help make our world a better place tomorrow because of something that you did today.
Yes,
God
sir.
bless you for your time. Thank you for spending it with us. We'll see you next time.